looking at 5.1, the calculator's issues that are calculator skills that are in 5.1. So the first thing is graphing this equation. So we're going to go to our graphing calculator, and we've got y equals 3x squared minus 6x. I put plus 1. It should be plus 2. So I just have that in the calculator. Notice how this equation is highlighted and the other two aren't. So you can do that by just going over the equal sign and hitting enter. It's not highlighted, then I go over and then I hit enter again and it is highlighted. So I did not set my window, I just did zoom standard, which gives you a 10 by 10 grid, and there is my graph. Okay, so then I want to calculate the zeros, so I go to second calc and I hit 2 for the zeros. Left bound, so you're going to the left of the 0, you hit enter, and then you're going to use the arrow key, and then you're going to hit enter again when you're to the right, and those two arrows at the top right up here, they need to be facing one another. You don't need to guess, you just hit enter, and there you go, 0.422. Let's see if that's right, 0.4226. Yep. So that's the first 0, and I need to get the second 0 value. So again, second calc, you can pause the video and try to do it on your own. 0, and then we're going to use the arrow keys to get over to the other side, and it doesn't matter how far away you are, and then you just, where it says guess, you just hit enter, and then there is your value. Your y value is 0 when x is 1.577. There you go. So that's how you calculate the roots of an equation when you're doing this problem. Okay, so then we're going to scroll down and take a look at this equation. Okay, this said calculator active. Now, you did need your calculator for this, but you could have just done the inverse cosine. If you divided both sides by 2 and got cosine x equals 1 over pi, and you could have just, let's quit out of here, you could have just done second cosine -1 of, what was the value again? 2 over pi, and then just done 2 divided by second pi and closed your parenthesis, and that would have given you your 0.8806. So that's the, in my opinion, the easiest way to do that would have been to use inverse cosine, because you're looking for the angle whose cosine is 2 over pi. But what they suggested here was to graph and then find the point of intersection. Another totally plausible way of doing it. So if I have these two equations in my calculator and I hit enter and enter, because I want to see those now, and I'm going to hit enter over the equal sign on that third one, so now that one won't show. And so this is what I want to look at. And then I hit graph, and the thing is that there's lots of intersection points. So I'm not really sure what one they're interested in. So let's go back to the equation. And it says here that the first thing I needed to do was to find the, I'm using the mean value theorem. So I found what the slope of A to B is, and then I found the inverse and set it equal to that, because I'm looking for the point on this interval where the slope of the tangent line is going to be equivalent. So I'm going from an x value of 0 to an x value of pi over 2. So I want to restrict my domain. So I go back to my calculator, and I'm going to go to window, and I want to restrict my domain from 0 to pi over 2. So I just change this to 0, and then I'm going to change this to pi over 2. So I'm going to go second pi divided by 2, and then I'm just going to change the y values because I don't need to go that high. So let's go -1, -1, we'll go -2 to 2. Okay, and then let's take a look at the graph. And so now I see the graph. I just am looking at the interval of what I need. And remember, we're looking for the point of intersection because it's where those two parts of where 2 cosine x and 4 pi are equal. Where is that equivalent? So here again, I just go to second calc. That's where all my information is. And I'm looking for the point of intersection. So 5 intersect. And then it says the first curve. It doesn't matter which one you do first. So just go with what they've got there. So the first curve is the 2 cosine x, and then it asks you what the second curve is, and it automatically jumps to the next curve. You hit enter, and if you want to guess, if you want to move your cursor a little closer, you can to help the calculator along, but it's pretty quick in finding it. So there is the intersection point. You are only interested in the x value because that is what your equation is solving for. Cosine of x equals to 2 cosine x equals 4 over pi. The y value is not pertinent in this case, okay? So that's where they got that value from. All right, my friends, those are 2 things to do on your calculator of things that I would have taught my Algebra 2 kids in the past. If you go to second calc, you'll see some other things there, how to find the max and the min. So let's just go back to my y equals, and let's take a look at this 2 cosine x curve. All right, and we'll take a look at the max and min on there, and we'll restrict the domain from -1 up to 2. Oh, no, sorry, -1 up to 2, and we'll just go by ones. Okay, so let's take a look at that graph. The graph looks something like that. Let's go a little further then. -1 to 3. Okay, so I want to know where my max and my min are here, okay? And again, you can use the calculator. I'm going to adjust my window one more time. All right. And let's go to -2.5 and 2.5, just so I get a better look at my graph. Okay, so the graph looks something like that. Okay, so if I want to find the max of this graph, I'm just going to go to second calc, and second calc, and I want to find the maximum. So I'm going to go to 4, and again, it asks you for the left bound. So I know that it's somewhere over here. So I'm just going to go to the left over here, and then I'm going to go to the right over here. Again, the arrows have to be pointing to one another. So there you go. There's your maximum. And we've talked about this before. When I get a weird value like that, it's actually equal to, so e to the -7 means times 10 to the -7. So it's 4.3 with 6 preceding zeros. And so that's a really, really small number. It's the calculator's way of saying 0. So that's my maximum point right there. And now if I want to find my minimum, second calc, and I want to find my minimum, and I'm going to go down here, enter, and then I'm going to go over here, and there you go. Do you recognize that value? That is at pi. So that's my x value pi. So that's a way of using the calculator to find your min and your max. All right, my friends, little calculator video. Hope you enjoyed.